Hello, and welcome back to Convey with Caroline, the podcast where every story becomes your path to powerful communication and personal growth. I am your host, Caroline Giro, and this is episode 8, where we talk about public speaking. In our previous episodes, we've discovered our voice, tackled imposter syndrome, and explored personal branding, among other topics. Today, we'll focus on public speaking. That moment when you step onto a stage or in front of a camera and you realize that everyone's eyes and ears are on you. If the thought of presenting to a crowd has ever made your heart race, stay tuned. So, public speaking is a fear for a lot of people. I think we've all been there. We all know the feeling. You're presenting something. You're at school, you're at work, even via Zoom call or a Google Meet call, and you've been asked to make a presentation. You know you're next. And then, the symptoms start. Your heart starts beating, it's racing, it's pounding, your palms are sweaty. So I remember when I was in primary school, I had been picked to represent my school during the drama festivals, and I was going to be presenting alongside other students in the school, play. And I was really good with language, and I was quite good at everything else when we were practicing in school. And it was my first time ever when we were going for, I think they were called zonal competitions at the time. And we got there, and it was my turn to go on the stage, and I had been picked to do the introduction. I don't know, the people in Kenya remember the introductions we used to make. Ladies and gentlemen, adjudicators, in front of you is the school of this and this and this, and it was my role to do that that introduction. But then I got up there and I couldn't talk. I froze and I couldn't say anything, and I was panicking. And my teacher came and tried to encourage me, and I'm trying to speak up, but my voice was not coming out the way it came out during practice. And I was so horrified. I eventually got through it with the teacher's support, but it deterred me from participating in future drama festivals. In my school, from that moment onwards, actually until I finished my high school, I never wanted to participate in the drama festivals ever again. So in my case, it actually cost me because I let go of something that I loved. Okay, I don't struggle with public speaking any longer as a grown-up. It is something I overcame, but I do know that a lot of us struggle with public speaking. And whether you're listening to this for yourself, for your child, for your colleagues, for your employees, either way, it is something that needs to be handled. How do we suffer with public speaking? At work, you've been asked to make a presentation, you're supposed to make a pitch to a client, and the cat got your tongue. It's in school, you're making presentations, you're defending your thesis, and you're panicking. You know this content, you've worked on it for the last 3 years, you know it in out, but when you go in front there, you're so scared. Whether you're doing it even virtually, you're not spared from public speaking fear. It could be a Zoom call, but nevertheless, your name is called up, you put your camera on and you're sweating. Your palms are sweaty, your heart is beating. For some people, the fear of public speaking lasts up until they're on the stage. For others, even when they open their mouth, they're suffering. The things that they practiced are not coming out the way they practiced them, and it just gets worse. The more you look at the audience, the worse you feel. And it is something that if it's not addressed can cause us a lot of opportunities. I've had an episode speaking about fear, but back to the topic on public speaking and what we can do about it. Public speaking is an opportunity for us to channel our voice. It's an opportunity for us to be heard. It's an opportunity for us to build our personal brand, to be able to climb that corporate ladder or education ladder or achieve something. And the funny thing about public speaking is that it does not differentiate between a formal and an informal occasion. You could even find it is at your own party, in your own home, talking to your own family, your own friends on the occasion of your child's birthday. And still, it's coming over you. That's how much public speaking sometimes can take root in our lives. We live in a world where communication travels at lightning speed. Whether you're presenting in person, hosting a webinar, or speaking even on a podcast, your ability to convey ideas effectively can open doors for you that you never even imagined. And the fear and the anxiety that comes with public speaking can close this door shut for you. right? So you have to be prepared and know how you can best tackle virtual meetings, whether you're doing a live stream on social media, whether you're building your personal brand. And we talked about the personal brand in episode 7. You can listen about how to build a strong personal brand. So in this information age, your voice can reach far beyond a single room. But also that means the pressure is on to connect with diverse audiences quickly. So now is the perfect time to sharpen your public speaking skills and ensure that every word you share carries clarity and impact. So how do we go from trembling knees to commanding the stage? I'd like to break down a few key elements that I personally use whenever I'm up to speak publicly. Number 1 is know your content. For me, I always put this at the very top of my list. It always helps to be a good speaker when you know what you're coming to speak about. Having the confidence that you know you have something to share with people, that you're not a fraud, and that you know what you're presenting very well, gives you a key advantage. Lack of preparation is a contributing and leading factor to people having a problem with public speaking. So whatever it is you've been called to talk about, whether it's a keynote speech that you're talking about, maybe something in your industry, or it's even a presentation at a party, or it's via Zoom call, the first place I start is being truly prepared, being a real and true expert on the topic you're going to talk about. Ensure you have your facts, you have your figures, you have read through, you've read from other people who have talked about the same thing. You've read a couple of books, you've listened to a couple of experts on the field about it. So prepare the topic, know your topic in and out. If the audience has a question on that topic, you should be able to answer the question. So for me, preparation is always number 1. Opportunity meets a prepared mind, and public speaking is an opportunity. So if you are prepared, you find that you have an easier time because you'll have the fear, but at least you have comfort in knowing that you understand the content very well. So for me, that is always number 1. Then the second, none of these are in order. The second point I'd give is to create a pre-presentation routine, is create a pre-presentation routine. A pre-presentation routine is something that you do every time that you're up to make a presentation. For me, in my case, is I always prepare my presentation a couple of days before. I make sure I go through my presentation. I practice, I go through my presentation and speak through it at least one time. And then I make sure that the day before my presentation, I take a rest. I don't look at my presentation. I don't even think about it. I do something else to allow my mind some time to rest and also to marinate those ideas that I talked about. So for me, I don't do a lot of last minute looking at the thing. I'll also think about what I'm going to wear for my presentation, have my outfit ready. I try to be at the venue earlier. I try to be at the venue at least earlier, be among the first to arrive so that I can be able to acclimatize to the room, acclimatize to what is going on there. I say a prayer. I take my deep breath, and my name is called Caroline. As I walk up to the stage, I take a deep breath in, out, in, out. For other people, it could be positive affirmations. For other people, it would help to listen to some music, take a podcast the day before. Whatever your pre-presentation routine looks like, come up with one that you do every single time. How does this help? It helps to calm you. It helps to bring down that anxiety to a manageable level. I do believe that preparation is key. Number 3, storytelling. Telling a story is always a hit. Audiences love having an emotional connection with the speaker who is speaking to them on that particular day. So it's always good to weave a story within the presentation that you're going to make. It lightens the mood because it lightens the burden on yourself because you've climbed up the stage, you're feeling like something is weighing you down. It's really heavy. The audience is looking at you in an expectantly. So if you start immediately with a storyline or a joke or something that can make you connect to the audience, then automatically that burden is reduced. Every good talk has a clear opening, a logical progression of points, and a strong conclusion. So think of it as a story you're guiding the audience through. Remember, you're not trying to say everything. Reduce your points to the time frame that you've been given for the presentation. It's better to make a mark in a smaller area than to try to say everything and only scratch the surface. Number 4, delivery techniques. This is where your body language can either make you appealing to your audience, or can make the audience, turn away from you. Your body language, your vocal variation, your tone, your voice, whether you're loud or low, and also maintaining contact with the audience and not just looking in one spot, but turning from left to right, looking across the full entire floor. These are things that can make or break your connection with the audience. So you need to look into delivery techniques to make your work better. Number 5 is adaptability. Do not go making your presentation stuck on what you came to say, stuck with the flow of how you're going to say it. You need to be able to look into the audience and read their body language. Read your audience's reaction. There is something that you said that you thought would generate a lot of feedback, but then you realize the audience looks bored. You move away from that conversation that you are on and you adjust accordingly. Reading your audience's reactions and adjusting on the fly is critical. You cannot stick to the presentation you came to make and do not factor in how your audience is responding to it. If they seem bored or confused, then you need to clarify or add a joke along the way, or add a story that maybe you had not put in that is inside there. If your presentation allows, you can have opportunities for engagement with the audience where you're able to ask questions or ask them to participate in certain things that can give you feedback. So some of these points that I'm giving are not exhaustive, but there are some that if you implement, your ability to speak in public will amplify everything else that you have been building, including your personal brand, your expertise, because it's the moment where your inner voice literally takes the microphone for the public to know what you're about. One of the best known examples of overcoming speaking anxiety in the Bible is the story of Moses. When God called him to confront Pharaoh, and I gave this example also in the Fear series, and God called him to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, and he sent him to go and speak to Pharaoh. Moses protested, saying he wasn't eloquent, and he even suggested someone else to do the talking, his brother. Moses felt inadequate. He felt fearful that his speech impediment or lack of confidence would disqualify him for this task. And deep down at the heart of public speaking, that's where the problem lies. You think that you're not good enough. You think that people will identify you as a fraud, but you're not a fraud. And I talked about the imposter syndrome on one of our previous episodes that you can also listen to. So yet Moses eventually did step up, of course with some help. God provided his brother Aaron as a spokesperson initially, but over time, Aaron grew into the role. And in real life, that's how it is with public speaking. Even if you implement all the points on the first speech that you have, you won't automatically get it 100% on day one. It requires perpetual and consistent practice over and over and over again, and you will incrementally get better, right? Moses famously delivered speeches that shaped history. Think of the 10 Commandments moment, right? He went from reluctance to becoming a powerful leader. So consistency and willpower to ensure that you ace public speaking is key. So what can we learn? Even if you don't feel naturally gifted at public speaking, you can develop the skill through preparation and incremental practice. But like I said earlier, you truly have to be good at what you're talking about. You have to be an expert of what you're saying, right? And like Moses, it starts with saying yes to the opportunity. So the next time somebody asks you to speak, don't refuse. Don't say no. Don't make up an excuse. Saying yes to the opportunity is the first step, despite any fears that you carry. So in order to help you now start turning these concepts to practice, I want to give you some actionable steps to help you start this journey to becoming a more confident public speaker. Right? So if you want to embrace that purpose over the fear, you want to focus on the value you're delivering rather than anxiety. So what I'd like you to do is to write a short statement about why your message matters, right? Stick it on your mirror and rehearse it before a talk. Secondly, remember that your talk should have an attention-grabbing opening. a concise body, and a memorable conclusion. So even before you start filling in the meat, write the skeleton of your speech, right? How am I going to start? And the starting needs to be something very interesting that is going to grab the attention of your audience from the get-go, right? And also how you conclude really does matter, and the points that you want to ensure. So for a short speech, outline not more than 3 main points, right? You can use a hook, which is a question, a statistic, or a short story to pull listeners in from the very beginning. 3, you want to master delivery techniques by combining strong body language with vocal variety. How you stand, you need to practice your posture. If at all you're making your presentation standing or even sitting, stand tall. Your shoulders should be relaxed and avoid swaying or moving backwards. Yeah, experiment with your tone, pace, and pose for emphasis. You can do this by taking even your phone and recording yourself when you're alone and then watching it back, play it back, and then you're able to see, I didn't know that I was standing like that, and I didn't know I was saying it like that, and you're able to correct yourself. You can use AI speech apps to help you with this, like Orai or Udly, to spot areas for improvement. Number 4, you need to engage with your audience. Remember, public speaking is a conversation, even if you're the only one talking. It's an exchange. So even asking rhetorical questions or encouraging a brief audience participation can help the audience stay connected with you, as well as maintaining eye contact and scanning the room rather than fixating on one spot. I know there were those adages where you'd be told to imagine the whole audience naked or something like that, but this would work better, right? People always want to feel included. Finally, practice, practice, practice. Rehearsals turn nervous energy into confident muscle memory. So the more practice you put in, the more you will be ready to do it, yeah? So remember to start small. And I'd like to leave a weekly challenge for you. I'd like you to create a 1 to 2 minute talk. It could be about work, school, a personal passion, or a message that you'd like to share with anybody, right? Record yourself, either audio or audio visual, and then play it back for yourself a while later. Note down your posture, your pacing, your clarity. And then if you feel confident enough, you can also share it with me. I'd love to see what you're up to. By taking these steps, you'll find that public speaking is not a dreaded obligation, but a powerful platform for your voice to shine. As we wrap up episode 8 on public speaking, remember that speaking up is about impact. Whether you're sharing information at work, inspiring your congregation, or pitching an idea, your words have the power to change minds and open hearts. It all begins by stepping forward, accepting the opportunity despite any fears you hold. If this episode helped ease your speaking anxiety, please subscribe and share this podcast with somebody who can benefit from it. You never know whose life might be changed by your decision to speak boldly. Until next time, remember, the world needs your voice, so let's convey excellence, especially on the stage.